Happy Thursday, Year 8. I'm in my kitchen today. Change of scene. You may notice a slight difference in the acoustics of the video. I'm in my kitchen for a very good reason. Because we're doing rotation today. And to do rotation, most of you, maybe all of you, will need a piece of tracing paper, which you probably haven't got. Not the sort of thing you have, is it, in your house? However, is there something in your house you could use as a substitute to tracing paper in order for you to be able to do this task today? Well, I'm just getting up, going over to a cupboard, bringing out from the cupboard some of this. Baking paper. Now, you may not have any baking paper in your house, so you might have to try and find some other substitute. But you're looking for something that's transparent, like that. You need to be able to see through the paper, just like a piece of tracing paper you can see through, in order to be able to do rotation lesson today. Have a look around, see if you can find something. If you can't, just let me know the reason why you didn't, try and do these today. Unless you can do them without tracing paper. Some people can, but I would advise using tracing paper or a substitute for most of you. Right, anyway, rotation about a point. Now, Tuesday we did reflection, that sort of thing. Okay, and I had a look at all the work that was submitted to me, and some really, really good effort. So well done, everybody. You took to it really, really well. I hope it was a nice, straightforward lesson for you to complete. Trying to keep things as simple as possible this term. Well, today we're going to do rotation. Now, rotation is different from reflection because it's not about a mirror line or anything like that. It's literally about turning the shape around, moving it in a sort of rotational way, in a turny way. That's the key word there, is turn. So this piece of paper here could be the thing I'm rotating. And when I rotate it, it sort of spins around like this. So that would be a quarter turn, a half turn, a 3/4 turn, and that would be a full turn, get me back to the start. I could have gone the other way, quarter, half, 3/4, full turn, like so. Okay, now all you need to know is, as far as we're concerned, the only amounts you will be asked to turn will either be a quarter turn, which we're going to say is 90 degrees, like that, or a half turn, which we're going to say is 180 degrees, like that. Now, a couple of things about those. If you turn through a quarter turn, you can go either that way or that way. Okay, so there's no need of us ever to think about a 3/4 turn. We never need to do a 3/4 turn to get to there, because we just do a quarter turn the other way. Okay, so at GCSE you'll only ever be asked to do a quarter turn or a half turn, and that's it. Except they won't call it a quarter turn, they'll call it a rotation around about a certain angle, and that angle for a quarter turn is 90 degrees. So 90 degrees is that, 90 degrees is also that. How do we distinguish between the two different types of turn? Well, we talk about the direction of turn. Now, hopefully some of you know already what I'm about to say. The direction of turn is either clockwise or anti-clockwise. How do you tell the difference? Well, you just have to know what a clock does. Okay, if the piece of paper is turning in the same direction as the hand of a clock would, then you are going clockwise. If it's turning in the opposite direction to the direction of the clock would hand of a clock go, sorry, we would call that anti-clockwise. Now, for a half turn, they won't tell you whether it was clockwise or anti-clockwise. Can you think why that would be? Why do they not need to tell you which direction you rotated in if you go and do a half turn? Got it? Well, it's because it doesn't matter. If I go that way, clockwise, or that way, anti-clockwise, I just end up in the same place. So all that's fairly, hopefully straightforward. That's what rotation is. So we're going to be drawing a shape on here in a minute and rotating it, using the tracing paper to help us. But there's more. There's something else that's really important that you understand about rotating about a point. So I'm going to tell you what that is now. When you rotate, you move around a point, and that point determines where the thing that you're rotating ends up. So, for example, take this piece of paper. If I put my finger there and turn around my finger, have to move across slightly, the piece of paper ends up there. However, that was a 90-degree turn. If I put my finger, move this down so you can see, here, and do the same turn, the piece of paper ends up in a completely different place. So it starts in the same place. That's it. Well, let's line it up here. Okay, so with the edges of my kitchen table here. So I'm lining it up there, right, so you can see in the same edge. So I'm going to do a 90-degree turn about my finger here. I'm going to interfere with the bottom of the projector, but it will end up there. Put it back to where it was. Okay, so lining up with the edge of my paper. If I do the same turn around this corner, it goes to a completely different place. So where you turn around has an effect on where the shape ends up. Okay, let me do some examples. Okay, so I'm going to draw an original shape. Don't make it too complicated, okay, or it will be much harder for you to do this. So here's my original shape. Okay, you don't have to do the same one as me. This is just an example. Okay, and I'm going to do, so I need to say what I'm doing. So I'm going to do a rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, you can do different if you want. You can do 90 degrees anti-clockwise. You can do 180 degrees. I'll do some of them in a minute. And I'm going to do it about a point which I need to mark on the diagram. So sometimes you give it a letter, but I'm gonna use a different colour so you can see it. There is the point that I'm going to rotate about. I'm going to actually put it there on the bottom edge of the shape. So some people can do it just by eye, by looking at it, but it can be tricky, hence the use of tracing paper. So what you do is you get your tracing paper and you trace over the shape. You don't have to do the sound effects when you're doing this. Let's just trace over him like that. There we are. Okay, so you've got a copy of the shape on the tracing paper. That copy. So this goes over the top. And again, you could have done this. You have some with baking paper or some, I don't know, very thin toilet paper. No, that's not going to work, is it? Your options may be limited. Okay, and if you really don't have tracing paper and you can't do this at home, let me know and I will suggest an alternative way in which we can get you doing some of this work. Okay, if you'd like to. Right, so anyway, there we go. So what you do is, and this is where you put the centre of rotation comes into play, is that is where you put your sharpened pencil, like that, in there, okay? Mark it on your tracing paper where the centre was, like that. Let's come up there like that. Okay, now, you then have to sort of turn it around there until you've gone 90 degrees, like that. Okay? Now some people find it hard to know when they've gone 90 degrees, especially if they drew this on a funny angle, which can cause problems. Okay, most people do it by looking at the edge of the tracing paper and seeing when it's sort of gone from horizontal to vertical or vice versa. However, there is a little trick that you can use, a little top rotation tip, and that is when you draw this point here where you're going to rotate around, don't just draw a point, draw a kind of a plus sign like that. I'll show you what I mean. You've got a plus sign there like that. And when you do the rotation, you'll know you've gone a quarter turn, 90 degrees, when that plus sign looks like a plus sign again, like that. When it looks like a plus sign, you know you've gone exactly 90 degrees. And that is where I'm going to draw my rotated shape. Can't remember what colour I did them in last year. Did I do a different colour last lesson? I don't know. Did I do them in red? I'll do it in red so you can see. Now, you have to now draw it. And this can cause problems as well, because how do you draw it when you've got the tracing paper in the way? Well, you have to find your own way around that. Some people like sort of do some sort of brass rubbing thing where they kind of rub really thing and get a sort of indentation. My preferred method is to kind of sort of look for where you need to put the corners, sort of move the tracing paper out of the way, but not completely like that, and then just sort of ink it in. If you've got a very good memory, you could probably take it off and draw it anyway. But can you see what I've done there is I've gone around and found where all the corners were, and now I've got the corners, I can just join it all up. So there we are. There's my first effort, and that's a rotation about the point marked with a red thing of 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, I want you to do 3 of these. Right? So I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do an 181 this time. So I'm going to rotate 180 degrees. Now I don't need to say which direction. I said that earlier because it doesn't matter which way around I go. And again, I'm going to do it about a point there. Okay, so let's have another shape. So for this one, I'm going to have a kind of a house shape sort of thing. Something like, you don't have to make yours as complicated as this. It's entirely up to you. I tell you what, I'm going to make it even more interesting by having my house have slightly different roofs. Slopey roofs. Like that. Okay, so it's a steep roof there and a shallow roof there. Now, I'm not going to put the centre of rotation on the shape itself this time. I'm going to be a little bit cleverer and just stick it somewhere else. And I'm going to put it inside the shape. I'm going to put it here. Okay? Now, this is where tracing paper comes into its own, because even I, with all my experience as a master drawer, I'm not entirely sure where this is going to end up when I rotate it. So I'm going to put my tracing paper on. I can use the same bit of tray. You don't need a new bit of baking paper or tracing paper every time you do this. And I'm going to, as I did before, make a copy of the original shape. Do that first before you mark the centre on. Okay, we'll do the centre after. Just get the shape drawn nice and carefully using, like I say, don't make your shapes as hard as mine if you're not brilliant. I'm not brilliant, but you're not, that brilliant at positioning, drawing on tracing paper. There we are. So there we are. And now, like I did before, I use my plus trick and make a sort of a plus sign where the centre is like that. I put my pencil in there like that, and this time I'm going around a full half turn. A full half turn? Half a turn. So, it doesn't matter which way around I go, that's a quarter turn, and that's a half turn. And there we have it. That is where the shape ends up when you rotate it. So once again, I'll do my little trick of kind of not moving the tracing paper, just kind of moving it out of the way to put on the point. Again, this is quite a tricky little manoeuvre, but I'm being very careful not to actually move the tracing paper as I do this. There we go. I now get the colour that I chose. It's not working very well. Another red pen. Get another one out. Here we go. And I ink it in. And that is that shape rotated through 180 degrees about the dot. Yay! Okay. And when you rotate 180 degrees, this shape, it will definitely look like that. It's just where you put that will determine where it ends up. On Friday, God, that's tomorrow, isn't it? Tomorrow, I'm going to show you, hopefully, if I can get it all sorted and working, some IT sort of stuff on this, where you can dynamically move this around and you'll see the shape moving around. Watch this space for that. Got some even more fun stuff on this coming up once we've finished doing all the transformations. We're going to be doing transformation pictures. But that's for the end of next week and maybe even into the week after that as well. All that's to come. But anyway, that was a rotation 180 degrees about the dot. So I'm going to do one more. So I've done a 90 degree clockwise. I've done 180 degrees. I'm now going to do an anti-clockwise one. So I'm going to do 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So then I'll have covered all three types that you would come across at GCSE. Okay, and this time I'm going to make sure that the point is not inside the shape, but is outside the shape. Now I haven't got a lot of room left here, so I need to be a bit careful that I don't do this too big. So I'm going to do a little one now. You've been listening for a while now. If I'm rotating anti-clockwise, I'm kind of going that way. So I'm going to sort of aim for the image to be up here somewhere. So what shall we have? Let's have. Okay, I'm going to do a simple one, but one that would be hard to see where it's going to end up, because I'm going to do it on a sort of diagonal sort of arrangement. Oh, crikey, what's happened there? Pen's leaked. So there we are. So I've got quite a simple shape. It's a little triangle like that. Okay, and I'm going to put the centre of rotation not inside the shape, not on the shape, but just somewhere else. So let's have him say here. Okay. Right, same again then. I'm going to... Oh, see, I'm getting lazy now. I'm not even using the ruler to draw it. That's bad, isn't it? Really bad. There we go. And once again, plus sign, like so. Got a bit quicker now. Probably fed up of listening to me. Fed up of talking to you. So let's get this over with. I'm joking. Right, okay, so I put that there like that. 90 degrees anti-clockwise. You see, I never know where it's going to end up until I actually do it. And there it is. It goes up there like that. Okay, so remember that was anti-clockwise. So all I do now is I do the same thing. God, it all moves. Same thing again. I've just sort of kind of holding it still and moving it around. I'm going to do this one. Ooh, whip it off. There we are. Yeah, that's another method actually. I should tell you. Another method is to kind of hover your pen over where you want it to be and whip it out of the way, and then you can put your point in. You'll get the idea. I'm probably over-analysing it. You'll probably think this is easy. I get it. But, some people do struggle with rotation. So there we are. So I've done three. I've done a 90 degrees clockwise about a point that was touching the shape. I've done 180 degrees about a point that was inside the shape. I've done a 90 degree about a point that was out, anti-clockwise about a point that was out. I'd like you to do the same and to submit it to me. Okay, this video has been going now for nearly 20 minutes. So I'm going to suggest that you spend no more than 30 minutes trying to do this. If you have problems with tracing paper, just let me know, okay? But I'm hoping that some of you will be able to overcome tracing paper difficulties by finding some baking paper, ask your dad or your mum, somebody else, if they've got a little bit of, you need a little bit of baking paper, and that'll do the job just as well. Have a good day, everybody, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.